Yo, what's up, droners, and welcome to the second edition of Droner Dialogue or Droner Vlog. I think those are the two names we're narrowed down to. Let me know which one you guys like. I did see your guys' comments and you guys want me to do this, so blam, here we are, second edition of it. And today we're going to be talking about the repair services from DJI, because I fly, the vast majority of the drones that I fly are DJI drones. I'm a professional drone pilot. And if you're flying a lot like I do, then you tend to have issues with your drones and you need to get them repaired. And normally the best place to go to get your DJI drone repaired is a DJI Repair Center, which you only can do by sending your drone in. So overall, over the years, I've had a very mixed bag of experiences with DJI and the repair services. Sometimes I'll send a drone in. Like one time we had a drone that got completely destroyed. And we just sent it in, and literally there was no communication, there was nothing. They sent the whole drone back completely fixed in 4 days. Here you go, nothing, no charge, no nothing, they just sent it back. And I was like, cool, we destroyed this drone and they just sent it back and fixed it. And I feel like DJI has been working on the repair service, because now they used to not even have a phone number. You'd have to do everything through email, and now you can do it online, or you can actually call somebody and wait on the phone for hours to talk to somebody who will never actually be able to tell you exactly what they're going to be able to do for you. They'll just be able to tell you that they can put in a ticket for it to do stuff. And another time I sent in my DJI Phantom that was similarly damaged to how that Inspire was damaged, and they charged me $300 to fix it, which of course at the time I was like, that's fine, because it was a Phantom 3 Pro, well, they were still new, so it was worth $1,200, and they charged $300 to fix it completely. So I was like, cool, that's awesome. But the mentality of, okay, this is $300 to fix a little Phantom and $0 to fix an Inspire. How does that work? Why is there no justification for it? Who knows? DJI does their own thing. But that leads me to a story I was going to tell you guys about my most recent repair experience with DJI that was a nightmare. And that should be a word to the wise in some way, shape, or form, because I don't know what lesson I learned from it. Maybe you can tell me. So I've been having an issue that you'll be able to find people talk about all over the internet nowadays. It's an image transmission issue, specifically on my secondary controller, which I refuse to use the name that they call it for DJI. But my secondary controller was having image transmission issues. Well, it was still transmitting the image, but it was intermittent. So it was just you would see it and then it would just jump and then jump and then jump. And it was pretty much useless if you're doing camera work. And we'd have to end up looking over somebody's shoulder, over the pilot's shoulder, to be able to get the camera work right. We ended up trying to do HDMI things. We tried to do all kind of stuff to fix it. In the end, I figured out how to fix that. If you want me to do a video about that, I'll tell you. But it's like a temporary fix. It works though, it works. We'll talk about that later. That's not what we're here for today. So it was broken. We tried everything we could, couldn't figure it out. We do have multiple Inspires, so it was only happening on one of our Inspires. So we're like, okay, cool, let's send it into DJI. So like I said, we have multiple Inspires. We sent this one into DJI, and we're like, okay, cool, we still have a backup drone, which you need a backup drone. That's pretty much the moral of the story. And so we sent it in, and DJI kept our drone, and they have this online tracking feature that tells you what your status of your drone is in their system. And a week went by, and they hadn't even received it yet. So I was like, okay, I'm gonna give it a couple more days. So I gave it 8 or 9 days, still nothing received. So then I call them, wait on the phone for hours to figure out what's going on. And they're like, oh, this drone? Oh, yeah, we got it. And then they updated the status of the drone. I'm like, what? What? I had to call you to tell you that you received my drone that you already did receive. So bam, they received it, and then it took another 3 weeks for them to actually do anything with it. So I had to call them again and do that whole process again over the next 3 weeks. I'm like, yo, what's going on with my drone? I want to know the status. And every time I called them, they're like, oh, yeah, that's right, we do have it. It's kind of like they had forgotten they had it, or I don't know what was going on. So they did it, they fixed it, and then they sent it back to me. And it took a total of 3.5 weeks for that to happen. Yes, 3.5 weeks. Mind you, I got my other drone back in literally 4 days that was totaled. And they just repaired it and sent it back, done. This one, image transmission issues, 3.5 weeks. What the mess. So they sent me back my drone, and I was like, awesome, I got my drone back. Let's go out for a test flight. Actually, we brought it out on the job with both the drones because we knew better. And we're like, well, let's just see what'll happen if we try to fly this one. We put the battery in, and it was ESC motor failure, which means it ain't gonna fly. Didn't fly at all. Something is now wrong with the motors on the drone, which there was no problem with the motors until we sent it to DJI. So we're like, oh, okay, that's weird. Either way, we have to fly this other drone now because this one doesn't fly. We troubleshot ESC, couldn't figure it out. The only thing that it says on any forum, on any website, is you gotta send it in again. It's like, crap, we'll send it in again. Send it in again. Same exact issue. Didn't receive the drone. What? So I have to call them again, go through that whole process again to get it fixed, right? And what we sent them was a version 2 Inspire 1 with a vibration plate, and we sent them with an X3 camera. because I'm not sending them with my X5 because I use it for Osmo and use it for the other Inspire, and I have Inspire 1 Raw and a Pro. But you keep your X5 if you can keep your X5, pretty much. So what happened was I kept calling and bothering them, and they're like, oh, okay, we're sending it back. So they sent me back, and it was a drone that was not my drone. The reason I knew that is because I had black wrap on my drone, which made it look so dope. And we also had, like I said, a vibration plate and all that. They sent me back a version 1.0, which you know because of the different motors, the weaker motors that have different connection things on it. And it was white, and it had a brand new controller too. So they pretty much said, oh, just give this guy a new drone. His drone isn't working. But they gave me like the original version without a vibration plate and without feet on the drone. So I call them, I'm like, yo, like this is not the drone that I sent you. And then they were like, no, that's the drone you sent us. I was like, no, it's not. Like here's the serial number. And they're like, oh, that is a new drone. I was like, yeah, but it's also the wrong version of the drone. Like, what's going on? And they're like, oh, so sorry about that. You should send it back to us. And I'm like, what? Like, every time I send it back to you guys, it takes weeks. And they're like, no, just send it back to us. It's like, all right, fine. So I sent it back to them, and then they didn't get it again. I had to call them again. And then they finally sent me back a version 2.0 with a vibration plate without the feet. I'm just like, I'm not going to argue with that. Like, fine. And it works for the most part. I'm still in the process of testing it because I just got it back. But the moral of the story is it took 3 months to get my image transmission error fixed. And it still might not even be fixed because I haven't even been able to test it yet because I've been so busy with other stuff. But I wanted you guys to know is that if you're going to be flying drones professionally, it's really important to have a drone community that you're a base of. Like the reason that I have multiple abilities, the reason I have multiple Inspires is not because I'm rich. Is because I have friends that have Inspires that let me use them because they trust me to fly them, just like I trust them to fly mine whenever something bad happens to mine, like this right now. So I have multiple access points for different Inspires for different gigs that I can borrow and rent from my friends because I trust their drones, and it's a huge game changer. So make sure you have, if you're flying professionally, you have backup drones, whether they are the ones that you own yourself or you're part of a drone community or friendship or partnership with other companies that have drones, because things can happen, and when you send in your drone, like, just consider it gone. Like, just consider it gone until you have it in your hand and you've tested it and it works, because working with DJI's repair service can be a headache sometimes. Oh, also guys, some of you guys are gonna say, well, you should have, did you have DJI Care or not? No, I didn't have DJI Care, and the reason I haven't got DJI Care is because of the experiences I've had in the past where they fix it or they just charge me for it, and they don't charge you very much. They normally just charge you what the parts cost when they fix it. So I don't see the point of DJI Care. But even so, I've had other pilots who have DJI Care that still had issues with their repair service. And DJI recently came out with the DJI Care Plus for enterprise solutions that apparently makes it so that now you just pay them like $4 grand and you have a fleet of drones, and they'll just prioritize how they fix you because now you're paying more money to keep the things working that were supposed to work in the first place. I don't even know, like, I don't know if they're like, oh, we want to be Apple, because I know, you know, DJI and Apple kind of work together. And you know, Apple Care, DJI Care, same thing. But at the same time, it's like, you know, when you have a company that has monopoly over the industry, like DJI, that's when you get situations like this where they can treat the consumers any way they want on the back end, because there's nothing we can do. You know, it's just like if Amazon doesn't deliver a package and you're like, oh, Amazon, what the heck? You know, they're just gonna be like, well, go somewhere else and get it delivered. And you're like, I can't. Or if DJI's drone doesn't work or they don't repair it the way that you want, then they're just gonna be like, well, go get another drone from someone else. And you're gonna be like, there's not really that much competition. So I'm not a big fan of, I'm a huge fan of the DJI drones because they're incredible and they change everything the drones work, the way they work. But at the same time, I'm not a big fan of that they are the only drone company really that's still relevant. It hurts all of us, it hurts their competition, it hurts how the drones are gonna be developed, and it hurts specifically how they're gonna support us as customers, because they don't need to anymore, because they can treat us how they want and we can't go anywhere else. So all this to say, I'm really excited actually to get my hands on this PowerVision drone that just came out. There's actually a whole video that I did about my NAB experience with PowerVision, where I was kind of blindsided by the kind of drones they're coming out with, because I didn't know anything about them besides their little power egg thing that doesn't look all that dope to me. But you know, after getting my hands on it, getting my hands on the other drone, I was like, maybe this could have some potential to it. So I'm hoping they can definitely compete with DJI, because we really need DJI to have competition. I like you, DJI. I mean, I should say it. I love you, DJI, but I love competition too, and there has to be some. Droners, I'm sorry that was really long. I get in my feelings sometimes talking about drones, as I'm sure you guys can imagine. But if you want to see more droner dialogue, as in the first episode, you should click here, because it's actually really cool. Or you can click up there, because that's the coolest opening video to a drone channel that's ever happened. Why not? As always, make sure you subscribe to support us, because that allows us to do what we're doing. And as always, stay fly.